I'm Austin Collins, and I want to talk about stuff that is unrelated to music production for once, as a departure on this channel. I want to share a comprehensive perspective that has been significant to me, that I've been thinking about for a while. And what I'm about to talk about ties together concepts in Jungian psychology, the Enneagram, the quantum observer effect, Taoism, and my own personal life experiences. What I'm going to talk about might be controversial for some people, so take everything that I say with a grain of salt and use your own discretion. Belief shapes perception, and perception shapes reality. When we expand awareness of our thoughts, feelings, and senses, it begins to affect the deeper structure of belief itself. This suggests that awareness is the key to how reality is dictated and how it can be changed. The more conscious we become of beliefs and the filters that shape our experience, the more fluid and open reality becomes. Awareness then isn't just a passive phenomenon, it is the active force that transforms what we perceive and what we can create. When our awareness deepens, it acts like a bridge between the subconscious, the body, and conscious thought. Much of what shapes our perception of reality exists below the surface. Automatic beliefs, somatic memories, subconscious patterns that we aren't actively aware of. These elements operate in the background, dictating how we react, feel, and perceive without us realizing it. As awareness grows, it shines a light on these hidden layers, bringing them into conscious focus. For example, subtle somatic signals, tightness in the chest, a clenching jaw, or a sinking stomach, they might previously go unnoticed, but now be observed and understood as emotional or instinctive responses tied to deeper beliefs or past experiences. And similarly, subconscious thought patterns like habitual self-doubt or assumptions about the world become clearer as our awareness sharpens. When these subconscious and somatic elements come into conscious light, they stop holding the same unconscious power over us. Instead of reacting automatically, we gain the ability to pause and reflect and intentionally choose our response. This process allows us to influence and shift our perception of reality, no longer confined by old, unseen patterns. Through awareness, we become active participants in shaping reality. We start to recognize how deeply connected we are to it, how the external world mirrors the internal one. With this recognition, our influence over reality expands because we are no longer limited by what we don't know. We gain the freedom to challenge and reshape old beliefs, align with deeper truths, and embody a reality that reflects a more conscious, intentional state of being as opposed to a unconscious, reactive one. As we deepen into the layers of subconscious and somatic awareness, the perceived separation between ourselves and the rest of the universe begins to dissolve. Awareness reveals that what we've been conditioned to see as internal and external are not two separate realms, but aspects of one unified whole. The sense of separation, the ego, which is the belief in ourselves as isolated individuals, is merely the result of a lack of awareness of a deeper truth. It's this disconnection that creates the illusion of division between ourselves and the universe, between what is and what we desire, and between the outcomes we chase and the flow of nature. When we bring awareness to the subconscious and the body, we begin to notice that the very patterns we associate with individuality, the sensations, beliefs, and desires, are actually deeply intertwined with the larger fabric of existence. The more present we become, the more we align with this universal rhythm, so to speak. We start to see that what is and what we desire are not inherently at odds. Instead, this sense of conflict arises when we cling to control or resist the flow of nature, acting from the ego's limited perspective. Ironically, as we move closer to this truth, the need for control over the universe diminishes. The deeper our awareness, the more we attune to what is already unfolding. We come to see that nature, or the universe itself, is intelligent and self-organizing, and that we are an inseparable part of this intelligence. As we surrender to this flow, what once felt like a struggle to force outcomes transforms into an effortless alignment with the present moment. This surrender doesn't negate manifestation or intention. It actually refines it. When aligned with truth, our desires no longer arise from resistance or fear, but from a place of harmony with what already exists, essentially acceptance. The closer we are to the universe, the more our desires become indistinguishable from its natural unfolding. And what manifests is not so much what we want, but what the nature of existence is already moving towards. This is not passive acceptance, but an active participation in the deeper flow of creation. In this state, control becomes unnecessary because there's no longer a perceived gap between ourselves and the movement of the universe. We simply become it. Because of this deep interconnection between awareness, truth, and the nature of the universe, self-awareness, self-care, and self-love become vital processes for healing and growth. When we care for ourselves, we're not just tending to the individual, we're nurturing the piece of the universe that is us. Self-awareness allows us to see through the layers of conditioning, the pain, and separation that obscure our deeper truth, while self-care provides the grounding and stability to face and integrate these discoveries. Self-love, in turn, becomes the bridge between the fragmented self, the ego, and the whole, the universe, dissolving resistance and creating space for alignment with the greater flow of life. Through this process, love reveals itself as more than an emotion. It's a unifying conscious force that connects us to one another and to the universe itself. When we practice love for ourselves, we naturally extend that love outward as we begin to see others as reflections of the same universal truth. Love between people becomes a conduit for universal awareness, a mutual recognition of the oneness beneath the surface of individuality. This shared love, in its highest form, is not about possession or attachment. It is a collaboration with the flow of existence, a resonance that transcends the self and expands into a collective awareness. When love moves between people, it opens channels of understanding, acceptance, and alignment, and it creates the conditions for collective healing and growth. It dissolves the illusions of separation and reminds us of our shared essence, making the entire process of healing and transformation not just individual, but universal. In this way, love is both the path and the realization. It guides us back to the truth of who we are, inseparable from each other, ultimately, and allows us to move through life not as isolated beings striving for control, but as expressions of a greater harmony manifesting in alignment with the nature of existence itself. So to reconcile these two perspectives, actively shaping reality through manifestation and dissolving the sense of separation to align desire with the natural flow of reality, requires viewing them as different expressions of the same underlying process. They're not contradictory, but complementary, reflecting different stages or layers of awareness within the same universal framework. There's the active participant perspective, which is a perspective that emphasizes agency, When we operate from the traditional idea of manifestation, we perceive ourselves as distinct creators actively influencing the world around us. Here, we focus on intentions, desires, and choices to shape reality according to what we want. This mode arises from the egoic sense of separation, where we view ourselves as individuals working within or against the external forces of the universe. And at this level, belief, focus, and action are tools we use to mold our experience. Then there's the unified perspective. As awareness deepens, we begin to see that the separation between self and the universe is an illusion. What we perceive as individual desires and intentions are, in fact, part of the same universal movement. In this state, manifestation becomes less about controlling or imposing change and more about aligning with what is already unfolding naturally. Desires cease to feel like something other to be achieved and instead become natural expressions of the flow that we are a part of. We realize that our own individual intentions are inseparable from the larger intelligence of the universe. Manifestation, then, is not about choosing between control and surrender, but about recognizing the interplay between them. In the earlier stages of awareness, we work within the tools of intention and action to direct reality, while in the deeper stages, we realize that the most effective control is alignment. By dissolving the illusion of separation, we come to see that what we desire and what the universe intends are not at odds, but are two perspectives of the same unfolding truth. Healing from shame and trauma is a vital process for dissolving these filters that distort our perceptions of ourselves, of others, and the world. Shame and trauma embed judgment deeply into our subconscious, creating barriers between us and the truth of our being. They condition us to see ourselves as broken, unworthy, or separate, reinforcing the illusion of division between the self and others, and between what we desire and what is. When we carry unhealed shame, we project that judgment outward. The harshness which we view ourselves becomes the lens which we view the world. We judge others as harshly as we judge ourselves, and in doing so, we perpetuate these cycles of disconnection and pain. Trauma, similarly, traps us in defensive patterns that keeps us guarded, preventing authentic connection and reinforcing these walls of separation. By actively healing from shame and trauma, we begin to remove these filters of judgment. This process involves bringing compassionate awareness to the parts of us that are wounded and hidden, acknowledging, feeling, and integrating them rather than suppressing or rejecting them. As we heal, we reconnect with our inherent wholeness, dissolving the false narratives that shame and trauma perpetuate. We no longer see ourselves as broken or separate, but as expressions of the same universal flow. This shift in self-perception naturally extends outward. As we release judgment of ourselves, we release judgment of others. We begin to see others not as separate entities to be feared, judged, or compared to, but as mirrors of the same essence we carry. This creates space for love, not as an abstract ideal, but as a tangible felt connection that dissolves barriers between people. Love, in this sense, becomes real because it's no longer blocked by the stories and the patterns of pain that we've carried. It flows naturally when we remove the resistance created by shame and judgment. Connection deepens, not just with others, but within the greater whole of existence, as we realize that love and wholeness we sought externally were always available within. Healing, then, is not just a personal journey. It's a process of returning to the truth of our interconnectedness. When we do this shame and trauma healing work, We create the conditions for love to flow freely. We enable the unity and presence that dissolve the illusions of separation. It's through this process that we begin to align with the universal truth of wholeness, allowing love to transform our experience of reality. To heal, we must revisit the trauma that fractured our sense of wholeness or holiness. The pain and discomfort that surface during this process are not obstacles to avoid, but are essential aspects of healing, signals guiding us to the very places that need conscious awareness to be absolved. These emotional wounds, buried deep in our subconscious and somatic nervous system, dictate our reactions to the outside world and the patterns of our lives without us even realizing it. They act as filters, distorting how we perceive reality and how we respond to it. This mechanism of fear and self-preservation, while originally adaptive and evolutionarily necessary, serves as a survival tool. Trauma ingrains patterns in our nervous system to protect us in moments of danger or crisis. It creates emotional walls, reactions, and judgments that allow us to endure and persist through hardship. However, this same mechanism inhibits our ability to grow beyond survival and into a state of greater, more ultimate evolution. One rooted not in fear or defense, but in freedom, love, and connection. Healing requires bringing conscious awareness to these stored emotional pains. By acknowledging them and feeling them fully, rather than suppressing or avoiding them, we begin to release their hold on our nervous system. This is an act of courage and presence, stepping into the discomfort to integrate what was once separated, allowing the nervous system to rewire itself and return to a state of balance and openness. Through this process, the filters of trauma and judgment dissolve, reconnecting us to a deeper truth, a truth that is unfiltered, unbound, and in alignment with our inherent wholeness. This process of revisiting and integrating trauma is not simply about survival, but about transformation. It's a return to the sacred, reclaiming the holiness of our being that was never truly lost, only obscured. As we heal, we step into a new evolution, one where we no longer react unconsciously, but respond consciously, no longer filtered by pain, but guided by truth. It is through this evolution that we align with the flow of the universe, moving from survival into creation, from fragmentation into unity, from fear into love. When we integrate these truths into our core values, we begin living with authenticity and purpose. The duality of good versus bad begins to dissolve. Challenges become opportunities for growth, yielding unpredictable rewards that align us further with our unique path. To do this, we must first embrace the dark and face our pain, expelling the poison of living by others' beliefs. It's an ongoing process, and falling out of alignment is inevitable. But berating ourselves only deepens the trap. Forgiveness and unconditional self-love are the grace that allows us to start again. This grace, as embodied by Jesus in Christianity, serves as the psychological and spiritual catalyst for growth and shadow integration. Whether through faith in religious figures or external symbols, what matters is that it helps us reconnect with love, truth, and our authentic selves. Music and art illuminate the abstract and the unconscious, connecting us with our spirit and revealing unseen parts of ourselves. They provide us the emotional energy we need to continue our journey. Creativity is innate to all of us. As children, we naturally explored and discovered through play until shame stifled this part of us. When we do the work to feel again, we rediscover that intuition and following our heart's true desires are both real and possible. This is why expressing authenticity is so valuable. The act of creating, or the process, is where the growth and transformation truly occur, while the art itself, or output, is a byproduct. It's a gift that allows others to connect with the same parts of themselves as we've connected with ourselves through the creation process. Authentic expression becomes an offering of love, both to ourselves and to the world. It transcends boundaries of politics, culture, language, and dogma, unifying us internally and externally through the shared human experience. I'll leave you with a poem that I wrote. You are not your person, but the awareness of personality. You are just observing, yet it influences reality. The less you can judge it, the less it judges you. So find the love in everything, and wholeness will come true. Thank you for watching this, and if this helped you, please feel free to share this with someone that you care about.